In today's episode, I will be giving a reaction and review of the movie Boogie Nights. Let's get into it. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the dub cast. Boogie Nights was released in the US on October 10th, 1997. The genre of this film is an American period drama film. Never heard of that one before, but we're rolling with it. The runtime on this movie is 2 hours and 35 minutes. It had a budget of $15 million, was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who I've seen Hard 8, which I reviewed on this channel, and There Will Be Blood by him. So let's see what he has in store for this movie. This movie stars Mark Wahlberg, Julianne Moore, Burt Reynolds, Don Cheadle, John C. Reilly, William H. Macy, Heather Graham, Nicole Parker, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. So, as always, I will get into my non-spoiler review by giving a brief plot synopsis without spoilers, and then give my overarching review and score, and then we will get into spoilers and my thoughts and reactions to this movie. So, a brief plot synopsis of this movie. It takes place from 1977 to 1984. The main character is Eddie Adams, who is played by Mark Wahlberg, who is a high school dropout who is working at a club as a sort of dishwasher and busser. He runs into Jack Horner at the club, who is a porn director, and he is going to bring Eddie into porn. So they start by basically just having him have sex with a girl named Roller Girl who never takes her roller skates off. So they're impressed by that, so he gets into the porn industry, and so as this movie progresses, he gets more and more involved with the porn industry and making porn videos. So my overarching review is just okay. There was a lot of sexual activity and pornography stuff in this movie, so I thought generally okay, it was a fine movie. I thought the most interesting parts to me were at the beginning and at the end of this movie. The middle I thought really lagged a lot for me and was pretty dry and boring, and I felt like it kind of just droned on. I appreciated learning kind of about the history of the porn industry and about the kind of quick rise and fall of it. And I like how we're introduced to a bunch of the different characters within this world. There's several different subplots that take place, and we kind of get to follow along with their journeys as we go. The ending is just pretty much straight up ridiculous, I'll just say now, but a lot of the film ends up being pretty ridiculous in and of itself. One thing that boosted this movie up for me a lot is the star-studded cast with a lot of familiar faces that I know from prior movies. That gives it a positive spin in my eyes, just seeing familiar faces, and I feel like they all did well with their roles in this movie. So with all that being said, I'm going to land this fittingly at a 6.9 on the Dubcast scale. And as far as reviews goes, that puts it at number 5 of the 7 movies I've reviewed so far, right above All of the President's Men and below 28 Days Later. So with that being said, if you want to go watch this movie, now is the time, and because I'm about to get into the spoilers. Okay, so spoilers. Basically, Eddie becomes this porn character named Dirk Diggler, and he kind of experiences all of the highs and all of the lows of being a porn star. At the end of the movie, he's essentially kicked out of the industry and fired because he can't get hard and he abuses drugs, and he's all paranoid about this up-and-comer that Jack hires, and just rubs Jack the wrong way, and they get into an argument and Jack fires him. So basically a bunch of stories are coinciding at the same time. Basically everyone who has been doing porn, their stories kind of end poorly because they were in the porn industry. Like, they don't get approved for loans, they lose divorce, etc., etc. At the end, Eddie, aka Dirk, tries to scam a drug dealer with 2 other guys, and it goes wrong, and one of them dies, and basically they barely escape with their life. And then finally at the end, Jack, the director, kind of gets a house where everyone resides at, and it seems like it's all pretty chill there, and they all had good endings. They go back to class. One of them goes back to class. They're all doing their own thing. Some of them are still in porn, ready to film again. And the last scene we see is Dirk, aka Eddie's penis. So, yeah, that is the end of the movie. Really nice ending there. So, with that being said, let's get into my thoughts and reactions on this movie. So, off the top, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of familiar faces to me. Starting off the movie, we basically meet Burt Reynolds, Don Cheadle, Mark Wahlberg, John C. Reilly. Just a lot of familiar faces within the movie, and then also moving on, we see Sydney from Hard Eight. I believe it's Tom H. Macy, but I could be wrong on that. So yeah, the opening scene is at this club where I thought this was like an interesting vibe for a club. There's just a lot going on where we see this first character we meet. I forget his name, but he's kind of this like intermediary, and he's just chilling in the club, doing his thing. And I don't know, the club was just interesting. I thought there was interesting vibes going on there. So, one of the things I respected about Dirk's character was the dishwashing at the beginning. As some of you may know, I worked for 4 summers as a dishwasher, so I've been there, I've done that. It's a grind, but I respect people who put the work in, and respect to Eddie, aka Dirk, for grinding. He seems like he was the only one back there. I've been alone and I've been with a team. It's better to be with a team, especially in a place that looks that busy. So respect to him. He's also seems like he's doing the busboy job. So big props to him. He's a hard worker. He deserves everything that's coming to him. So with that being said, Jack meets him, and they have this weird interaction where Jack kind of just walks into the kitchen. I guess he's like higher up and known to the people back there, so no one really takes offense to it or finds it weird. But Mark, I'll just call him Dirk from now on. Dirk is back there chilling, and he's like, "You want to 5 to like see it and 10 to watch me jerk it," which is that a thing that happened in the 1970s and early 80s? So people just threw $10 to see him jerk. I mean, I guess we see it again happen later in the movie, so I guess it was a thing. Seems odd to me. I just didn't think that there was a market out there for that, and $10 seems cheap-ish at the time. Maybe that was a good amount of money then. I don't know. Clearly, yeah, I don't know. We get into the porn industry kind of thing, and Jack is just talking to the girl he's with, and he just calls her honey tits, which I thought was funny. Just calling a girl that, and she's just like, okay, yeah. Just right off the bat, I was like, this movie is pretty odd, but I'm sure it's going to get weirder, and it pretty much does, so I was right. So we meet Roller Girl, who never takes her skates off, and I'm like, why don't you ever take your skates off? That seems like really uncomfortable and really like hard to navigate some situations, like, I don't know, sleeping in the bed with rollerblades that go everywhere with you. I don't know, that just seems weird, especially for someone in the porn industry who's sleeping around a lot and being in different places that may not be the most sanitized or most clean areas. I don't know, I just thought that was a weird thing to hang your hat on, is always keeping your skates on. Okay, interesting. Still don't know why she doesn't take them off. I don't know if we ever properly got an explanation for that. So Dirk ends up going back home, and his mom is basically like a drunk alcoholic, and I called her an asshat. Just be nice to your kid, bro. Like, I know it's the 1980s, everyone's supposed to go to school and whatever, and there's not really as much backing back then for there is today for not going to school and doing your own thing, but dude, like, stop drinking. Like, he just comes home super late. Like, let the kid live, and then you're like being super mean about the girl he's sleeping with. Like, I don't know, at least he has a relationship with a girl. Some people I know have never had a relationship with a girl. I don't know who would do that, but the dad just is like sitting in the bedroom just like, oh, here we go again. You gotta step in. Like, if this is the 1980s, you're the man of the house, right? Go in there, do something. So that scene pissed me off, and I was glad he ends up leaving his house. So he basically goes on the run. Jack has him come to this pool party, and everyone at the pool party's just sitting there watching this guy Bill, his wife, like cheat on him in front of him and just have sex. I guess that's a thing that happens at porn parties, is everyone just circles around people and just watches people having sex. I don't know, that was odd. Poor Bill, man. He goes through it this movie. He doesn't really ever do anything about it. I mean, at the end he does, but he doesn't really. He just sits there and also like watches and then just like, oh, why are you doing this? And then she's like, get out, and then he just listens. Like I feel like a lot of some of this movie actually, now I'm realizing, I feel like the women are just alphas in relationship to the males, but I guess maybe that's something I'm just spewing at this point. Okay, moving on. So yeah, something I noticed about porn, and I've obviously everyone has talked about how they could possibly be a porn star, but you got to be mad comfortable just showing your stuff to everyone around you. So I thought that was, we get to see that where Dirk is just chilling with like 15 people around him, and they are all just watching him basically naked and trying to get hard, which he's able to do. So he becomes a porn star, and this is when he thinks of his name in the hot tub, Dirk Diggler. I guess that's a cool name for a porn star. I don't really know what guys' porn star names should be. I don't know if they have like specific things. Like, I don't know. I guess porn. Now I'm thinking about it. If I ever watched porn, then maybe I don't know. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know what makes a good porn name. Yeah, so something I want to actually notify the crowd of is do not watch this movie with people who can hear your device, especially in like the first like hour, because it's going to sound like you're watching porn, which basically you're watching a movie of people. You basically are watching porn if you're watching this movie. So be wary of that. There's a lot of sexual noises that happen in the first hour of this movie, so be careful if you don't want it to make it seem like you're watching porn on your TV or computer or whatever you're watching this movie on. Yeah, and as I just said, this movie is basically just porn. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is basically just on Pornhub as a movie, but it's not on Pornhub, it's just a movie. So take with that what you will. We start to get into Dirk starts to get really famous, and one of the girls makes him do coke, which I knew right away, bad decision. Seems like that's a typical trope in movies where they start doing coke. Goodfellas, just basically don't do coke, guys. It's going to lead to your downfall. We see that with Dirk, where he starts his downfall from here, basically. And once you know that he's doing coke, you know it's going to eventually go downhill. So basically, this is the middle part, which is super dry, but there's still some notable stuff. Scotty, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's clearly I could catch on, was having the eyes for Dirk. He's also a guy, so not sure how the gay people were treated in 1980. I don't know if it was okay to be out of the closet. I don't know. I'm not really sure on my history there, so you guys will have to let me know on that too. But it was obvious that he was crushing on Dirk, so I had respect for him for shooting his shot. He kind of did it in a weird way though with the car. Yeah, nothing really to say for there. He gets rejected, but he keeps it real. So respect for Dirk for playing it off in a cool way. He doesn't really chastise him or anything. Just saw that one coming a mile away, and then Scotty goes down bad and starts crying in the car. I'm not sure if we ever see him again. I don't know. The middle of the movie just kind of whatever. So yeah, we got poor Bill again. This is the New Year's Eve party. She's just cheating again as usual. I wonder if her and Bill ever even have sex. Not that it really matters, because Bill is like a side character to the side character who's literally just there to see people get cheated or to see his wife cheat on him. But I felt bad for him. I don't know. Do something about it though. It seems like you're getting alphaed. Anyways, so we see the New Year's Eve party where he walks out again to her cheating, and then he comes back with a shotty, or I think it's a shotgun or a pistol or gun, whatever. Goes into the room where his wife and the other person are making love, kills both of them, walks out, and then kills himself. And this was just very like, I don't know, this is what started the kind of, okay, this movie's kind of just going to do whatever it does, and we're just going to be along for the ride, so nice. It was cool, though, the way they shot it, so I respect that, and just the randomness of it, and also the surprise factor. As I mentioned in my last review, I like the surprise factor, so I'll give credits for the Bill scene. Thought it was cool. Basically, dude, I simp for Roller Girl. Of all the girls, I think she's the most hot in this movie, and I looked up the actress, and I would still simp for her. So if you're out there, Roller Girl, hit me up, hit up my line. My number is 401. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know, I thought she came off as really attractive in this movie, and really liked her in this movie. So one of the annoying things that really annoyed me during this movie was the way they show you the actual porn scenes. The first one's interesting because you see like what the kind of porn scenes are like in the 80s and or the late 70s and the 80s. But after the first like 2 hours all set, and they insist on showing you like basically 7 of them. So I don't know. I just thought every time they cut to the movies, it was like the actual porn movies. It was a waste of time. Just didn't think they were that interesting, especially when half of them are just like him and John C. Riley basically being like cops and like I don't know, action guys, and it just was, I don't know. I thought that the first two were cool, but then after that we didn't really need to see that. So that was a part that annoyed me. So yeah, basically one of Jack's boys gets arrested for CP, and once you fuck up, he ain't talking to you no more. And I understand this completely because when you're in an industry like that, if you get associated with something like that, you ain't gotta talk to him. So I respected Jack for being a boss and just saying, I'm never gonna talk to you again. Don't talk to me. Fuck you. So Jack, ruthless boss, director, respect. So yeah, during the middle, I almost fell asleep once again. Just noted that I was getting lost. Well, not lost. I was just losing attention and getting ready for something to happen. It just seemed like this kind of joyride they were on for a while. At least Dirk was. It seemed like it went on for too long, in my opinion. And I should have mentioned my overarching review, but I thought that the movie was just too long overall. I think we could have cut out 30 minutes of it, and probably that being mostly in the middle and mostly the scenes of the actual porn, and then probably other stuff too that I'm just forgetting even happened because the middle was just like blah to me. Yeah, so then I have a tiff with Dirk because he's being fucking rude to Roller Girl, and dude, you're not realizing what you have in front of you. You need to simp, bro. Stop being rude and just go along with the theme of the movie. Let yourself get alpha, bro. Roller Girl, you can't just be rude to her, bro. Coke's getting to this guy, and don't do coke, and don't be mean to Roller Girl. Fuck you, Dirk. So this is when I started to turn on Dirk. Yeah, so towards the latter half of the movie, he gets into his fight with Jack, where he's all worried about this up-and-comer guy, even though he's just tweaking out on coke because, of course. And I was like, this is going to end quickly, and it does. Jack fires him, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes to make music, which, yeah, have fun with that. So now the girl who made Dirk do coke is making Roller Girl do coke, and they have this weird ass scene where she calls her mom, which is another scene I would just cut out of the movie. I don't really know what that was adding. I guess she was the other girl. I think her name's Amber. Was supposed to be the one that all the girls looked up to, and Roller Girl was calling her mom. I just didn't need to see this scene, and fuck you for making Roller Girl do coke because she goes on a downfall as well. So as I mentioned, downfalls, we get the kind of downfall scenes all hitting at once. Amber with her husband loses a divorce because she was in porn. Dirk was not able to get into the music shit because of his porn history. And then Don Cheadle's character was not able to get a loan because of his history in porn. So we see how being involved in the porn industry kind of gives you that money and gives you that fame up front, but then at the latter half of life, you're kind of stuck in no man's land where no one wants to respect you. It's kind of like the opposite of being a veteran, where they'll just like let you do everything because you're a veteran, which is respectable because they should. But when you're in a porn industry, it's the opposite. You get rejected on everything. So we see the implication of that towards the end of this movie, and then all the way back to the start, we have Dirk's jerking off for $10 again, even though he got like scammed into doing it by this guy who knew that he was gonna jerk for $10. I don't know. It was weird. It's like a sad part of the movie, quote unquote, because Jack is like, give me 20 minutes. He's like, nah. He's like, I got 10. He's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So you see him just basically full circle moment back to the $10. Yeah, so then even my girl Roller Girl is having a downfall moment where Jack thinks it's a good idea to ride around town and have someone film from the passenger seat, where he's also just chilling in the back with a girl, with Roller Girl, and they're going to have some guy come in from the street and have sex with her, and it's going to be a good video while he's just sitting there next to them. I don't really understand the concept of that. Jack, not a good idea, bro. Usually I was okay with Jack's ideas, but this one I was like, dude, what are you doing? So basically, the guy they pull in was a classmate of Roller Girl's, and he just grills her. So they all get mad at him. her and Jack beat the shit out of him, which she fucking stomped on him with roller skates like 7 times, and he was just fine. I think he'd be dead. Spoilers for Stranger Things, but 11 does that shit once, and the chick almost dies. So I don't know. Maybe she had protective rollerblades in case she needed to stomp on anyone. I don't know. Yeah. So Dirk gets like fucked up and just got his from having going full circle and having his downfall. So yeah, wow, that's all I had to say about that full circle moment. But there's still like another half hour of this movie, so I don't really know what the kind of pacing, well, not really pacing, but how the plot was playing out. I don't know what we were supposed to do with that. I thought that the way that it played out was kind of weird. Well, I understand it, but so yeah, my message for this movie was don't do coke, kids. Yeah, stand by that still. So we get eerie music behind both the downfall scenes. I thought that was a cool part, incorporating that type of music. And then both their paths sort of cross, where we have like Roller Girl and Jack are on one side of the road, and then Dirk is on the other side of the road. And then also Cheadle's character just like comes in too. So there's a nice one there. Thought that was one of the better scenes in the film, just the way it was shot. So basically Cheadle's character is going to the store to buy like a donut for him and his girl, and then someone comes in to rob it. There's like a veteran in this restaurant just chilling. There's a robber who comes in, and then there's the store owner, and somehow on some like Reservoir Dog shit, spoiler alert, they all just shoot each other dead, and like Cheadle's just fine with blood, and he just like takes the money and runs. So it's like, okay, he got a nice thing here, but I don't know how the physics of that works. We need to slow it down like the Reservoir Dogs video and see what actually happened. I don't know how this could happen. I don't know. I thought it was stupid. Then we get this whole ordeal with the drug guy and Todd, who is this character introduced in the latter half of the movie, which I didn't give a shit about Todd at all because he came on in like the last like fifth of the movie. They tried to scam this drug lord who's like an interesting character because he's just like a typical 80s villain on coke or whatever. He's just being weird and singing songs and stuff, which I thought was an interesting plot, I guess. But so yeah, basically after that they end up escaping. Jack and John C. Reilly's character, who I'm forgetting the name of in the movie, not Jack, Dirk and John C. Reilly's character escape. So we get Jack and Dirk reconciling because they need each other. So good on them. And Roller Girl goes back to school, which good on her. And then basically everyone gets to live in paradise with Jack. And then they're going to start shooting porn again, which, okay. So their lives basically all stay the same. And so is Dirk at the end, where we see him getting ready to shoot another scene. And we get the most weird ending of a movie ever, maybe? Our last most weird ending scene of a movie ever, where he just pulls down his pants and we see his penis. So yeah, that ends Boogie Nights and my thoughts and reactions on it. Didn't really know what we were supposed to see with the end. I mean, I'm just not going to say anything because I'll get memed for whatever I say. So not interesting, weird way to end the movie. And that'll wrap up my movie review of Boogie Nights. So plan is for this to come out in a week around the 21st or 22nd, Tuesday or Wednesday. At this point, I will be on my vacation. So when I come back, I will have first one out when I come back will be Survivor finale, and that one's going to be super fun. I'm going to go through the episode, talk about the season as a whole, put the people who play Survivor on a tier list based off my likability of them, and then rank the seasons of the new era. So that'll be a huge episode for Survivor, wrapping up Survivor 46. And then after that, I'm going to continue on with Succession. We'll have a review for The Little Things on Netflix, maybe Mr. and Mrs. Smith as well. Always going to keep watching stuff, keep up on sports too. May have a sports podcast in there as well. So content's going to keep flowing, guys. Appreciate you so much for sticking with me and watching all the videos and watching all the podcasts. Those of you out there who watch everything, even though you don't even watch the shows or movies that I'm reporting on. So appreciate that, guys, once again. And one update for the channel is I'm going to try and get more guests onto the podcast. So I'm going to put out a Google form where make it easy for you to figure out what we can talk about on the podcast. So, yeah, excited for the future, and thank you guys so much again for everything. And peace. Keep it easy, and don't do coke.